would like to invite the next speaker, Mr. Hùng from KMS. So that's I believe that most of you know Mr. Hùng well as well, because Mr. Hùng also one of the founders, co-founders for the CL Vietnam group here. And Mr. Hùng is the CEO for the KMS, and which is having 5 years operation in Vietnam for outsourcing. So Hùng will share with us for the successful story for KMS, one of the well-known outsourcing company in Vietnam. So let's please welcome Mr. Hùng.
Good evening. I hope that you can hear my voice. My voice usually is very soft, so I hope that this not make you like too sleepy during the session. I would use English in the presentation, though I think that I can explain a little bit more in Vietnamese, but then because we have foreigners here, and then we should I should use English. So can I ask a very quick question? That raise your hand if you know my company KMS. Any of you? So some of you. Okay. And can I ask the next question is that what do you know about us? So Antoine, can you just give me a very brief answer about that? What do you know about us? Not know about me, right? I know you, you know me.
KMS is a fast-growing company in terms of software outsourcing and logistics.
Okay, that's one thing. Anyone else can give me an answer? Like, great.
Yeah, what I know about KMS is that they have a few offices and very beautiful one. In the Cộng hòa, just very beautiful office.
Thank you. Anyone? I need one more answer. Anyone? Yes, please.
My impression is that KMS has a great control, a great team, and it seems like everyone in the company has some special bonding with each other. That's really impressive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the story today I'm going to share with you is that about how did we get there. Our company, we just started like 5 years ago in January 2009. And at that point of time, you can see that the number of staff, we can see that it's 0, right? And then now, move fast forward to this time, we have nearly 500 people in 5 years. And you can see that most of the growth is in Vietnam. So in the US, we only have like very flat, line here with about like 18 or 20 people over there of all the 500, right? And then this, what I want to share today is that how did we get there from our experience, what works for us, so that we hope that it can give you a case and then the principle that we use over the time, and then if you can apply that somehow, somewhat, then that would be our happiness to see so. So the top, when talking about the top 5 things come to my mind when I ask the question about that, how did we get there, how can we make it happen, then these are the top 5 things. Of course, then if you want me to give like top 10, I can extend the list, but then in this given kind of like time budget for today, I think 5 is enough to cover for the rest of today. The first thing is market time. Market and time selection. When the market that Sam mentioned in the previous session is about BPO, and the market size like 200 something million, right? And then the market that we are working on is software outsourcing. And then for US, according to my research, it's about like 30 billion per year. And it would be growing in the next 5 years with a growth rate of between like 5 to 7%. So it's keep growing, and it's quite a big market for the country like Vietnam. So, but then it's really big. How can you really get the customer right? That's the merit, right? If you want to run the business, then you have to target somehow somewhat, and then to some niche, and then some segment, and then truck to sell, and then grab the client, right? And then we try to picture what our potential clients should look like and what would work for us. And here is something that we usually ask. Good country, right? We can serve like Japanese, we can serve like Europe, we can serve like Australia, but then for us we choose it America. The reason why is that the group of the co-founders of KMS, we are all like have good experience working in the American market. It's not everywhere else, so that's how we choose that America. And the second question is that what type of business that our clients our potential clients should look like, right? It can be like a company like Walmart, or the big corporate like bank or whatever. But then for us, we just focus on the software product service company. So it's kind of like different shape from different niche, a very selected niche from the big one market. And then the size of the company, we really focus on the SME. And then we can serve, we can be good to serve startup company as well as mature company, but then we really focus on SME. I would tell you the answer why we would choose that. And then we also ask about what is the preference of the engagement. Do they want to work with us long term, or just like staffing, just headcount? And then what works for us is that the first thing is that we choose America at the market, and it's the size of the market is 30 billion, is big enough. The type of business that we just focus on software product company. The size we focus on SME, and then the engagement we focus on long-term partnership. And now I can share with you why we really choose that. Earlier in the conversation with Sam, you mentioned about the fact that Vietnamese, you don't see the maturity in terms of like managing the big one project, right? The project with 1 million, 2 million is okay, but then 15 million then is not in the capability of Vietnam or Vietnamese kind of like workers or IT professionals. And then that's exactly how we really focus on the SMB, because their project, their range, usually they're under 100 person. And that's really our strength. That's really our strength. If we try to compete with people like Cognizant or Infosys, they are company, big one company, have like 100,000, 140,000 people. And if we want to compete with them in terms of that project of 1,000 people, 500 people, we can't really compete with them. We just lose in terms of the scale, in terms of like pricing, in terms of just everything. But if we focus on the team size under 100 people, then it's easier. Cognizant, they would not care about a project under 100 people. And that's really how we come into that market. And we really have to focus. We really have to the investment of the whole management team to care about our clients. And then that's how we can win the other Indian vendors over the time, and we never lose in that battle. But then if we try to reach out to a project like at the size like 100 people, I don't think that we will that way. And so the first suggestion is that you really want to make a clear picture in your mind about like which niche that you really want to serve for the market, and then I would suggest that focus around your strength. Focus around your strength. And then you say what you can do. It's not you say what you cannot do, and then eventually it's just a failure for everyone. So that's the first thing that worked for us. The second thing is that the culture. So we are here in Asia, like in the East, and then America is in the West. We talk about integrity, but then the other day I heard a story that integrity of Vietnamese is different from integrity of Americans. They said that it's just a fun story. That speaker the other day I heard that for Vietnamese, integrity meaning that if no one knows, then you still can do it. So if you look around, you do something that's not right, but then it's nothing, no one around, no camera, and then okay, let's do it. So that's he called it compromise integrity. So that is it's kind of like a shame to hear this kind of like story about Vietnamese integrity. But yes, if you want to really work with American clients, you really want to know that integrity, what does that mean to them, and talk in the same understanding and then in the same level. So the communication language, it should be the must. So not like a BPO or software outsourcing, then you really need to have the language, because you have to communicate by email, and then you have to do conference, and sometimes you have to go over there, or they would visit your office, and it all be in English. So language is always is the must to be successful, to be successful here, and it's kind of like hard to fix this one issue for Vietnam. And in my company, we have like 500 people, and then we still struggling to improve our English. Though we still make it work for clients, but then it is not at the level that we are satisfied with. Because like in the team of 10 people, then maybe just 2 or 3 people, that's really the main contact point, and then they are the ones who really communicate English very well, and we're comfortable to show them upfront, but not that 10 people, and that's still a ongoing project for us to improve English. And then I heard the same story about that in the other big one, like CSC, or just about the same. We try to do everything we can. We'll provide incentive for English certificate, and then ask people to use English in the working time. You know what? After that, people just keep silent. So it just depends on the purpose. Everyone's just like, so we're trying to work it out, but then you have to do that if you really want to serve American market. And integrity, as I said, for us, then we just focus on 3 things. It's really hard to translate this into Vietnamese. We have no equivalent kind of word in Vietnamese for integrity. So usually when I have to explain it, it would be the first thing is that be honest. Never tell lie. You have to tell the truth. Keep your promise. Very important. If you don't really need to say it, but if you say it, please keep your promise. If you say that you would deliver this module by this day, and then the day before or the week before, you know that the progress is not that good, you better just stay up late, work overtime, work over the weekend, and do it. Otherwise, then after 1 time, 2 times, and the 3rd time, then people just lose the trust in you, and that's really something bad, right? And the last thing is that be accountable. In Vietnamese, that when we translate accountable and responsible, it's about into one word, that means, right? But then accountable is more than responsible. So accountable for me is that you need to, you part of the group, you part of the story, and everything you do, it would have the impact to the end result. You have to know that and then work towards it. It's not that you finish your work, that you have to go extra mile. You have to think further. You have to improve your knowledge so that one piece of your work can fit very well into the whole team, and then it even helps the other team member as well. So accountable is more than responsible. And then for integrity, and if you can keep those 3 things, and be honest, and then keep your promise and be accountable, then after 6 months or 12 months, your clients over there in the US, you can imagine, like when you do our software outsourcing or BPO, then we usually talk over the phone or Skype or just email. We rarely meet each other. So it's really hard to build trust, right? If you don't keep your promise like 1 or 2 times, then the people on the other continent just like lose your trust and lose the trust in you. But then if you can keep that in the first 6 months, and suddenly then everything go through the right process, right? Everyone know that if you tell something, it should be the truth. If you promise something, you could deliver that no matter what happened, and then you're very accountable. So after 6 months, then the trust should be there, and trust is always the key to the relationship, especially for the outsourcing service like we work with overseas. And transparency. Many times that Vietnamese that try to just hide something, right? Not that really honest, and then at the end of the day, when issue happens, then we can't really explain because we hide too many things at the end. So be transparent, and then if you can keep it entirely, then I think that be transparent is more easier. It's easier to do that, right? So that's the culture. You have to be a fit. And the third thing I would like to share is that I really like this quote from Mr. Ziegler. You don't build business, you build people, and people will build business. So that's one of the principles that we use. So to build people, first of all, then it should be selection, right? Recruitment. If you recruit the wrong people, then no matter what you do, it's just like not the right result, right? So it's very good, very critical for that first step. And then that is something that I can share with you at KMS. Then to grow up to 450 people, then we have to process like 7,500 CV, and then we have to process the first round interview, second round interview. So the ratio is like 1 per 15. So to bring 1 people into KMS, then we have to process like 15 cases, and that's the ratio that we really make it in the last 5 years, and that's how we can have the good quality staff in KMS. And after that, what do? You need to develop, right? So if you don't want to grow your company into like more than 100 people, then it's not really a pressure for you to train or to develop your staff, because if you develop too many, then maybe that you don't have enough opportunities, right? But if you want to grow more, then it should be staff development. And then at KMS, and we do something like this, a pressure program. We have leadership development program, we have technical development program, and after put them through the training, then we put them through the real world opportunities to work with U.S. clients. All of our clients are in the U.S. None of them are out Vietnam or Europe or anywhere else. So we helping business in the U.S. to be successful, and then our staff can have the chance to work with those kind of projects. So currently at this point of time, then in our company, 1/3 of the technical staff are from freshman program. 1/3. So it's about like 100 something. And then the attrition rate is very low there. So after 3 years, then those batch will become senior developers, senior people, and then after that it will be manager. And that's the whole future of the company is right there. If you cannot do that, it's really hard, because you cannot really hire from the market for everyone. If you can build it, then it's much better. And that's what we do. The other thing that I would like to share is that leadership development program. So for us, then we use the Pareto rule of 20 and 80. Most of you would know that Pareto rule, right? So in order to run a 100-person company, I would have the raw estimation that I need 20 people at the mid-level, people at the lead level or manager level or director level to run the company, and those are the backbone of the company. And then that leadership development program would target to those groups. So that group of now I have 500 people, then that mid-level group should be 100 person. And we built a 6-month training program specifically for that group. So that is our old curriculum for them. So we run them through like 4 days, full days of lecture training, and then after that we have 6 journal sessions just to go through all the best business practice in the world. Same decision that if I have to be there, and if it is successful like that, then the purpose of the training is done, and I don't need to be there, and that's the company. I don't need to be in the office. Usually people would see me around District 1 more than the others, because our partners, I mean our staff, they do a very good job in-house already, so why would I have to be there? So that's how I have time to go and then hang around with the CIO people and then do the job here. That's because I have those kind of like people in-house. And then for all of that, I think that it's still very hard to work. I mean, if you have all the best training in the world, it's still hard to work if you don't have a very positive and connection corporate culture. That's very important because you really have to have that. And then if any of you curious about how to do a connection corporate culture, then you can refer to this book. I would publish this slide, so you can just read it and you will see some of the principles there that you may want to apply for your company. And then the 4th one, talking about metrics. So anyone who runs the company would like about net profit, gross profit, revenue, or something like that. Outsourcing service, of course, we care about net profit, gross profit, and then all of the revenue. But then for outsourcing business, then the survival have metric is utilization. So you mentioned about that in the BPO, right? In India, then before, then it would be 20, and work now is like 5%, then it's really bad. So that's really an important key metrics there. I can't share like how we make it happen because it depends on the company, but I can share with you with how much is that good for an outsourcing company. For us, it should be about 82 to 86%, and that should be a good rate for utilization.
What?
That's the utilization. So the definition is that the number of resources you can build in the total. So 82 to 86 is what works for us very well. Any time that it go lower than 82, then there's a red flag for the whole management team. And run above at 86 is also a red flag. You know why? Because we don't have enough resources to take in the new work, because we don't have a lot of people that on that. So 100% doesn't mean that good.
20% is for backup.
So between 22, I mean 82 and 86. So for example, if we can maintain that 86, right? Then we still have like 14%. Yes, both shadow and bench. Alright, so I can share with you that number a bit like that. And then the very last question is that, is outsourcing a means or a purpose? So today when we talk a lot about opportunities, right, about the market, but then is that really that it can help to build a sustainable company? For us, then we would try to ask some more questions. We do something. This is not about outsourcing or BPO or whatever. It can be the same question for any one company. What do you see in the next 5-10 years? Or more than that? If outsourcing is the main of the purpose, and for us, then we want to build a company that we can build the next generation of IT professionals in Vietnam. That's the very, very top purpose, ultimate purpose of the company. We build people. We need people around IT professionals so that you can either do outsourcing, you can do software product development, and that kind of thing. And that's really the driver underneath. Anything happens, then we just go back to this very basic question: what do we want to do here? So in the next 5 to 10 years, maybe we just went into another business, another outsourcing business. But then we know why, because again, I believe that if we can build a good group of people, then we can grow. I mean, we can be a sustainable company much better than everyone else. So that's the top things that I would try to share today. What happened at Canvas, and then I hope that they can help you in terms of like. The first thing is that the story of from 0 to 500 in 1 year. That's a real story. Anyone can do it. Canvas is just a case. It's just a case. Anyone can do it. And then the second thing is that if you can apply that principle, then I'm happy to hear. So it's a very billion market. Pick it and lose it. Okay, I'm welcome for question now.
One question for Home and Siva.
Yes.
When I'm hearing from the Siva is the opportunity of the BPO.
Yes.
And John's idea is I think it's quite different with the Siva. For example, about the language, about the skill set, or the something else. Yes, low end is a huge labor. For example, I remember you say it's two people have an English skill. Is handle about the 1,000, but it's a problem. The language very important to set up this outsourcing service. Is how do you think about that? What's Vietnamese company go through?
Infosys company today, big company, most of you know. Infosys company started about 3 city blocks, 600 meters from my house in Bangalore. I'm from Bangalore, India. 600 meters from my house, Infosys started. Their first office was this office. They started software. They did software outsourcing for many years. But then they realized you have to do both sides of the coin. Today, they have a very big BPO operation also. So, you have to, I think at some point, software growth has gone like this in the 90s, and it's kind of, it's not going as fast. And that's why Infosys, Wipro, the big boys have gone for BPO also. So I think it's just two sides of a coin. But I think I really appreciate, I had a very small slide. You spoke about human capital.
Yeah,
I think that's something you addressed, and I really appreciate that. Because human capital is the key. It's not about BPO, it's not about software, it's about developing human capital, and how in Vietnam, and I share his passion for that, how in Vietnam we can develop the human capital. It's not important. See, it's not important if you are a car mechanic in Toyota, or if you are a software engineer, or you work in the bank. That's not important. It's not important what you do. It's important that you're developing human capital so that we're developing the economy, developing the people. That's my take on it.
For me, then opportunities are just open for everyone, right? So it depends on you as well. So if it fits for you to do BPO or it's around your strength, I think that you would want to go for that. But if your strength is like more around like software outsourcing, then you may want to pick that. So it's not right, wrong, good or bad. It's just like fit or not, suitable or not. For me, then in Vietnam, we only have like 80-something million people, right? Talking about BPO, then we, believe it or not, then eventually we would have to compete on the scale. And then talking about the population, then India and then China has it. So eventually it should come to like cost and then population, right? And then it's going to be hard. So if you pick BPO, you may want to think about it. So in the next 10 years, what would it look like in Vietnam? Yes. The business, right? If you want to build a company for like just 3 or 5 years and then get all the money, I mean, be successful on the term of finance, then it's good. I mean, it's good for anyone. But then think a little bit more, and then you may have the better answer. For software outsourcing, my passion about doing that is that it's a really, it can come up with innovation later on. if you can do the software development and you can really have a good hold of that and start to shift to software product development, and then it would be one of the key that I think that can help Vietnam to become a mark on the global map about the innovation capability out of Vietnam. So that's my hope, and then that's all that. And then we just started a software product company like 2 years ago. It's still early to tell anything, but then we started it with the hope that after the first one, we would build the next one until we build like 5 or 6 software products that are successful on the global scale. And that would be something that we would be really happy to see. So that's my point on
utilization.
Yes.
In your company about the 82 to 86%.
Yes.
And you have maybe 15 pool
Yeah.
resource. What is the most difficult for the outsourcing company? It's I'm appreciate with you build up the culture and the believe together between the client with your company, but you can share some your experience the first time when how to get the order, how to get it the first project and some the project is, because I mean that is very difficult for the startup the company to do outsourcing with overseas like American. I don't worry about the skill of the.
I think that's a good question, because I'm sorry then you would try to ask that if I have to start an outsourcing business, then how can I bring it in the first time? So it may work for KMS, not work for anyone else, so that I don't have the absolute answer or like complete answer or whatever, but I can share with you about KMS story is that in the first time it's always like friends and family, right? So you go around your network, around the people that you know, and try to reach out to them. Our fortune is that we're fortunate to have a CEO at the age of like 40 something. He was born in 67. So and he was raised he grew up in the U.S. I got all of the education in the U.S. and then his network there is about at the stage that most of them are CEO or CIO. Of all the years that we've been working, people know us. People just got to know us because that word, the integrity that we talk. If we say something, we do something. We keep our promise. And then when people saw that, we started a company. Many of them just like contacted us naturally and hey, I have something that I think that you can take care of this one. So are you interested in working with me? And then hope so happy to see that. So that's very, for the first few contract, it's just like that. That's what happened with us. I don't know if it can happen for the other one companies. I cannot be sure about that, but then that's what happened with KMS. But you know, the first time is like really hard to get, but then people all usually say that having that time is the first step, how to maintain that, how to make that happy. And just like the coffee shop, right? And I mean, make an analogy to the coffee shop kind of business. So the coffee shop in this town, they can survive, sustain by having repeating customer or referral customer, right? It cannot be like just the new one. But it usually be like you come into this place and the decoration is good, right? The atmosphere is good. So you feel like you want to go back with your friends. So you can do that. So the next time is that you don't sell. People just go back, right? And then people just, hey, why don't you come join me in Zhongwen Cafe or something like that? And then it just adding more of the sale. So for us, if we have a longer look into the future, then that's the key. If we cannot maintain our reputation or our quality, and then if the client don't want to work with us as a long-term commitment, then it's really hard to maintain a business. And that's it. So you cannot really jeopardize your future by losing your promise or lower your quality. And in order to do that, It's about human capital again. You have to build a good group of people, capable and intelligent people.
KMS in the next 5 to 10 years will only target small and medium businesses?
Okay. So, I mean, in the next 5 years, we target to grow up to 1,000 people. In that 1,000 people company, then it's still good to do SMB, but we don't stop there. In Asian culture, then there's a word called Voltun, right? Things keeps changing, and for our business, we also have to deal with that and have to change ourselves so that you can grow or you can sustain, right? So this year or in the next 2 or 3 years, then SME is still a good one, but it doesn't mean that we just focus our sales funnel into that. And actually, then currently, then we are working with the other clients like ATC, Auto Trader. That's one of our clients, and they are much bigger than they are 3,000 people company. And we work with Cali Blue Book as well. So a subsidiary of Auto Trader. Still an experiment, because for those one company, then one day they come in and they said that we need like 20 people. The next day they may just say, hey, I need like 50 more. And then the next day, hey, I don't need this many, so can you try? So that would be very hard for the small company like us, like 500 people or 1,000 people, to deal with that, right? The first thing is that recruitment is really hard to find good developers around Ho Chi Minh City. I guarantee that any one of company here would have that challenge. We compete each other to get talents, right? The second thing is that in Vietnam, it's not like in the US, like layoff is still kind of like usual practice. Here, if it happened one time, you may lose this forever. So people just, hey, figure out the so something like that. So we don't have the good answer to work with that one. We're very open to explore and experiment until we find something that works. And when I can find that, I guarantee I can share in another session, like 10 go. And that's it. The first thing is that market selection, right?
Yes, market selection.
And then you have to know, see how Vietnam, like, who are the target audience? You have to know that to answer that, right? You don't really serve the other industry. You have to serve the IT capital industry, and then you work around that, right? And then the way that you organize the events, it should be the same way, right? Just to serve your client. Otherwise, then you lose your audience. I'm glad that we see more and more people to come into our events, because it looks like we are on the right track during the day, right? And at the event, and some of us need to be here and then run around, check everything, and people would need to be at the registration table, and then they need to be on time. But many times it's the last minute, and then they got the assignment from the boss. How can they deal with that? So culture, we need to build a really supportive culture, openness kind of thing, so that we can really stick together. If this person cannot do that, the other person would be the backup. Ask no question, just go, and then help, and something like that. So the culture, right? What else? Staff selection and then development. It's about the same. We have no payment at all. It's all about our wish to have to do something meaningful to the community. That's it. The biggest payment is that our happiness to see that we can serve and we can give useful information. That's the biggest payment, right? So we have still, to recruit people with that same interest, right? Otherwise, how can you go along the way? And then that would be a big time to unfold. And then all of the senior people around here in Tung and Đức, then they are with the community like 3 years already. Many times it's going boost it back up. And yeah, we need that, right? And then what's the next one? The next one is like metrics or no utilization.
How will the CEO of Vietnam will be in the next 5 or 10 years? Maybe you can share with us. apply the lesson.
I have not been there for so long, but when we sit together and we did some brainstorming, And we were thinking that by 2020, that means 6 years from now, CEO will be able to have the community to train 2,000 CIO. That's been from IT leaders to CIO, the human development. And we plan to do a series up to 500 talk shows with quality and with the right audience. That's the second one. And the third one is, I think it's a bit crazy, but that is more in my personal dream that I want the Vietnam IT will have the country to develop the much higher GDP compared with the other Asian countries. That is my 3 wishes by 2020.
Thank you.
In 2008 and 2009, when KMS was a small company,
Right.
young team,
Right.
and what are the effective ways to get candidates, to get attraction? Because I know the recruitment is pain. So do you rely a lot on internal effort, or you rely a lot on the outside pay for the resources? Second question is that, what do you tell about the candidate at a time and nowadays? The quantity, the quality.
It's about the same principle with sale. When we first start our business, then it would be friends, family, and we look around. Who are our friends? Who really have a big trust in us, and then who want to really join us. So we tell the story, we tell the vision, we tell what we want to do. And at that point in time, we want to do is build a company that we are happy to come to work every day. So that's the very one thing that we would share. But we can bring in quite a few good people at that moment. I think that is the result of the 10 years or 15 years that we're doing business, because that's the time that we have to know. We got the chance to know a lot of good people. They know me, I know him. They know my CEO, and my CEO know them. So when we first started out, hey, I have an open position here, and then our company is very small. It's in a small alley. It's not that big one office now. And then we have nothing, but then we have the trust, and you know me, right? If I do something and say something, then that's something that I would deliver. And if you have that trust, then come join us. And most of the time, then that's how we do the recruitment in the first few years. And we can gather quite a good core group from that time, thinking about the same principle and then sharing the same core values. And after that, we scale it up, because there's a momentum there. People could not invite the other people into the company if they don't think that they fit in our culture. So it's just this naturally scale up until this time. And until this time, then I can share with you that, like last month, when we received the new employees guideline list of the month, half of them are from referral. Half of them. And at one time, I still remember, I was so happy to see that 80% of new employees in that month was referral. It's not really that we have to go out there and then do advertisement and then do really good message, and then again, repeating customer or referral customer is still the easiest sell.
So how many?
And then we have certificate for the fifth anniversary, I mean the 5th year, right? More than 90% of them still with us. So that's a good number, and we are happy. We are happy about that.
And Caesar and some overseas like you. Because we don't talk so much about the KMS now.
Yeah, just Can you repeat your question once again?
What do you tell about
position of the Vietnamese company in outsourcing market in the world, and for the time being, and how do you see it in coming year for 3 to 5 years from now?
If you follow some of the ranking, then Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi is now in the top 20 of the outsourcing destination. So we are still there in the last 5 years.
Globally.
Yeah, globally. So we are on the on the global map already, and then it's a matter of like more and more companies like KMS or CSC or FPT or whoever do outsourcing then can help to improve that ranking. So we there already in the top 20. I'm not have the right answer in the next 5 years for how many rank that we can climb up, but I have the belief. That outsourcing compared to India, right? The software industry in Vietnam is very young. We are like 20 years only, like 15. Like I'm in the first class of University of Technology to really be in the IT major and the software development major, and it's like 15 years ago. Then the first class that got out into the market. So the maturity of the market is just like that. We haven't done a lot of good work. We haven't get yet that talking about software product, right? Can you name us? I mean, me a software product out of Vietnam that's very famous. It's really hard, right?
The sketching tool, the tool to diagramming, is the open source project that's very famous and always.
Is it no revenue, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Anything else? It's really hard to name it now. So we're not there yet. I mean, software outsourcing can be the start. But for Vietnam, then I would bet more into the software product development. But in order to get there, then we have to go through, use that as an opportunity so that we can have the knowledge, have the experience before we can like do the software product. And that's our dream at KMS. So that in the longer run, then if we can add more and more of the added value into the value chain, then it would be. So outsourcing, I have the belief that we're still there in the next like 5 to 10 years, still good opportunities of business, and then to bring money into this country as well, right? Because outsourcing means that we are exporting your service, and then all of the revenue will come directly into this country, and somehow somebody would help push the economy up, right? And then that's one thing. But then the next thing, think more about like software product, and then I would bet into the future. 5 to 10 years. Actually, I got the same question early in the year when Anh Hỷ came into the office, and then he said that, what do you think? And then I don't have the answer. I just have to believe, but then I need to do something first, and then before I can tell. But then if I had to do something, that software product would be the end goal. Outsourcing, it can be a good growth in the next 5 to 10 years, yes. But it would become harder and harder with the scale of Vietnam and the education and everything here in Vietnam.
What I was involved in the group in IBM called Global Procurement Services Group. This group is IBM that identified 18 countries around the world. They selected as could be the destination for IBM to do the IT outsourcing in these countries. And they have a group to go to these countries, conduct the survey. They will meet with the government authority. They will meet with the couple of universities to see the IT curriculum in those universities. They also meet with the IT company and PPO company to see how maturity they are in terms of the process, quality control process, and how stable, how grow, how the infrastructure of the company, the country, and how support from the government. A lot of parameters to evaluate those countries. So Vietnam was in that list of the 18 countries of IBM. And we conduct the survey, and Vietnam come up at the, I would say, top 10 countries around the world. IBM was selected Vietnam to set up to outsource the IT project, PPO project, and then I myself convinced IBM to set up the PPO center in Vietnam, to set up the global delivery center in Vietnam. So I think Vietnam have all condition or all advantage to become a very strong in IT and PPO outsourcing. But after I would say 3 years of the global delivery center operation, after 2 years of PPO center operation, IBM decided to close for both PPO and IT global delivery. If the scale is not big enough, it's not scalable, the big company and they don't want to put more efforts or put more overhead to manage or run the company or the center like IBM delivery center. Direct cable connect within IBM network only to perform the IBM project or IBM customer project. So that is cost us $1 million per year for 150 people. If you divide by per head, then the cost is overhead is very high. For example, the same, let's say it's a CMM program in India. They launch, let's say it's 500K. IBM, they have 50,000 people in India for global delivery center. And the same cost 50,000, 500K. We put in 150 people here. It's how much cost per head here. So when it's talking about the big company, the big projects, I don't think Vietnam is the good destination for that. And coming back in the question of Anton about the ranking of Vietnam in the IT outsourcing or IT PPO map of the world, I think it's Vietnam still maintained in the list of 20. But recently, what information I get, or what the data I get from university or more of the education ministry, the IT student is reducing significantly in the last few years.
Coming in, IT in the university is down. It's a slight down now. It's
so even with very small scale and very small human resource pool, and the number of resources are still keep reducing. I think we can very difficult for us to bring up the position of Vietnam in the map of the IT outsourcing. I think CIO or whatever organizations could help us in terms of raising the voice to the government. Somehow, it's the last few years is a real estate market, finance market. It's like booming in finance, in banking, university. So instead of that, it's now I think it's the big important role of the organization or any associations can help us to bring the voice again. There is the big opportunity, the huge opportunity for the country to increase the GDP, increase the revenue of IT company, for the increase the income of the IT staff or family of the IT staff, a better life conditions if they put the efforts in IT education.
Yes,
so
I agree with that.
Otherwise, I think it's
the reason why I asked Shiva and what's the best way for the outsourcing company in Vietnam? I don't think it's a BPO with a scale very large. We would have a potential in Vietnam, because I remember 5 years or 6 years ago to tie down some of the outsourcing to do the testing for the Boeing. John Wu said to the team, the group, they need about 1,500 people for the pilot projects only.
Yeah.
Pilot
Even
projects
IBM,
only.
we're talking about a project for
Yes.
software development of 2,000
And I think the best for the outsourcing IT Vietnam outsourcing company like Hùng, because we focus on the more not so scale up very high, but the high quality or the high level. I think is a better. If you're thinking about the set up a 5,000 developer or the employee in Vietnam, I do not think it's easy. And how to keep it. Yes.
Well, I think one of the things
See the FPT celebration that they just did a few days ago with the company growing up now to 5,000 and 100 million US for outsourcing and PPO. So I think there is a room to grow for both like KMS and also FPT. But maybe the number, we grow for the small one is cater the specific small and medium market would be higher. But I think there still be growth for the big one as well.
IBM, they're not interested below 2,000. It doesn't even make sense. And I'm not saying again, software development is a value-add service, must have it. But again, to build the masses and slowly build interest within the young population in IT, we have to try and look at the lower scale IT labor, which is in BPO. Software development is high value, is something we must invest in, but I think think about this. Just look at that 30 million versus 200 million. Billion, not million, I'm sorry. Billion, right? The market is significant. So just kind of from a Vietnam perspective, if I can employ it doesn't have to be, this part of the BPO is, as long as you know how to type on a keyboard, right? Everybody knows Facebook, so you're good, right? So I think that is, in my opinion, it's not a better strategy, but it's a short-term strategy of how to get Vietnam to the next level. How do I increase the GDP from X to Y by bringing 2,000 people in IBM to do keying or something lower in scale. The challenge with IBM, Accenture, Infosys, Wipro, any CTS or any of these guys is they're looking at high value skill. They want software programmer, they want architect. Where will you get that? Anybody here, please call me because I need that for my project right now. Okay, it's not available. But BPO, 1,000 people who are history graduates to hit keyboard just like Tanya was talking about. A, B, B. Yes, anybody can do that, right? Yes, you're not adding value. So very important, it's not adding value, it's short term, but how do we take the level up? One small baby step, one baby step at a time.
On the PPO, IBM also set up they call PPO center in Vietnam process for purchasing department in IBM. All the procurements, for example, the IBM guy in US, they want to purchase the stationaries, for example. So the PO is processed in Vietnam. So what they rate on the system, they also select vendor selection, screening, contracting, issue the PO is from Vietnam. So this is not very high-end technology. This is but they also decided to close the centers in Vietnam. The reason is because we are not in that industry. We are not mature enough, and the culture here is not very well fit for PPO kind of things. So where the people in India, just give the example, night shift is normal. The people who go to work from 7 p.m. to let's say 3-4 a.m. in the morning, come back home is very normal in India. even unsafe, or they will provide a bus back home. But in Vietnam, they consider it is second job, second level of the people in the society. So because these people cannot find a job in the daytime, then they have to go in the nighttime. So all the families not encourage them to go for that job. So attrition is more than 50%.
That's a good point. Yeah,
So very difficult. It's some of the company in Vietnam, they have a big team doing PPO, the Harvey company. They have around even more than 500 people doing PPO, data entry. They get the contract in US, just scan and send it here, reading the contract, collect the number and put it in the system. That's they call data entry. It's very easy. But again, they consider that is a not very good job, only typing, very boring, kind of things. After 2 or 3 months, after training, they leave the job, they leave the company.
Yeah, so I think that the sharing, your sharing is right, but the opportunity is still right there. I mean, if you can find a way, then you still can make it happen. It's not right or wrong, it's just that your option, your selection, I would say.
Yeah.
But then all of the lessons learned.
All my negatives.
No, it's good to know, because if you want to start outsourcing company and then you try to reach that 500 people, cannot be done right
No,
here.
believe me, the same pain India went through 20 years ago. It's not new. Asia is not Vietnam culture. It's Asian culture. Asian culture. We go to work 9 o'clock, 8:39, come back 5. We saw all of us saw our fathers go 9 to 5, right? It's only our generation which is seeing night shift. What is night shift? We never knew night shift. Same pain India went through, same pain China went through, same pain Philippines went through. Somebody's got to do it. It's just a matter of time, I guess.
Just give you an example. I conducted a country survey in Malaysia. I went to the company, and surprisingly, they serve Nokia call center, and there is 5 Vietnamese guys from Vietnam immigrate and go to Malaysia and work for the call center of Nokia to support Vietnamese customer.
Yes, I know. For the Dell customer service as well. Some Vietnamese people go there in Malaysia. And I would like to ask Andrik that what is the opportunity for us and what is the challenge? Because you have the experience in this.
We have been providing the managed services in the country for about 4 or 5 years. And recently, about 1 year, we got quite a few proposals from the partner from overseas. From Europe, from US, and they want the outsource again to the third party like us. Actually, some of the company they provide the managed services to their customer in Europe for the power plant, and the whole power plant was IT system was managed by themselves, and now they have a team of about 7 people here, and they cannot scale up, and that's why they look for some partner they can work with them to. So that I see that Vietnam still have the opportunity for the outsourcing market because it's apart from the cost factor, but also from the skill level as well. And Vietnam can be more competing with the regional countries. So that's some area we can still very much like who mentioned. We hope that will be growing well in the coming years. Okay, so I believe this is very interesting topics, and that's we still I can appreciate really appreciate your guys still very much spending time tonight, and but we need to wrap up for the time being, and we still have a networking time after that this time, and we have a more chance to talk directly to the speaker, and so. Ho Chi Minh City Association, also the co-host for the event tonight, and speaker Sam and Tasia, and Mr. Hong share with us on very interesting topic. And once again, thank you very much. And hopefully we will have the monthly coming topics, and we'll be sharing with you again. Once again, thank you very much. And after tonight's
mình phải nói một cách rất là tế.
Chắc là tới để cho là
Okay. No.
I don't know where is it downstairs. No, it's a restaurant you get here.
GB.
Eat rice
Tôi bây giờ anh chạy là tôi phải đi thang nhé.
em phải thăm một xíu.
Mới em có gì mới không?
And you have to have the efficiency to be able to make the product for you now.